I really hate this fucking movie. Okay. I know I can't get away with it that easy, but... You know what I'm looking at, right? I mean, look at it. It's the Fog remake. It's one of the worst remakes of all time. One of the worst films of all time, I should reckon. Back in 1980, John Carpenter released The Fog. Now, while it wasn't as big a hit as Halloween, it was still quite a commercial success and went on to gain a pretty big following over the years. So it was pretty inevitable that they released a remake in 2005. So, why do I hate this film? Let's have a look and find out. So we open up the ship being set alight. Well, I suppose that makes a change from the old man telling the story. The problem is, the old man telling the story immediately grips you. You want to know what's going on. You want to listen to the story. You get the mystery behind it. This film decides to ruin it in the first 5 seconds.
What do we hit? I don't know. There's something in the water. There's something down there. I can't see anything.
Well, why did you say there was something down there then? What the hell was that? Is that the sound leopards make now? They sound like aliens from Independence Day. Don't believe me? Have a look.
Welcome to Earth.
So, flash forward 134 years and we get a little introduction by Stevie.
Hey out there. You've got the one and only Stevie Wayne, honoring the memory of Antonio Bay's founding fathers.
Well, this sounds ominous. Oh, it isn't. But what was with the music then? Anyway, here's our male lead, Nick. Wait, Nick? You mean this guy? You changed the older, more knowledgeable seaman for this guy? You've turned this into a teen slasher, haven't you? Anyway, the anchor gets caught on something and now the ship's about to capsize.
There goes something. I'm trying to. Hey, I lost all my fish.
You only caught 2 fish? You suck. Crisis averted. So later, the guys talk about Nick seeing Stevie. Don't know why there's this relation, because there wasn't one in the original film. I mean, Nick and Stevie didn't even share a scene. The only time they talked to each other was over the phone.
Well, I'm going down to Little Ray's to get a new clutch for the one that you broke today.
I broke it. So make sure you end up at Little Ray's, don't end up at Little Stevie's.
It was a one-time thing. Twice. It was twice.
Twice all 3 times?
Your point is?
Really don't have one.
Isn't it amazing when the film itself points out how stupid its dialogue is?
But she does know Elizabeth. I'm just saying, what if she blabs?
Elizabeth. You mean Jamie Lee Curtis's character? The one who was just passing through in the original? She's now a local? You know what? I can't do this. I can't nitpick every little detail. So let's continue and see how else the film screws up. Well, Nick then meets up with the Vice President from the day after tomorrow and complains about money being spent on the statue rather than the marina.
How much did that cost?
A heartfelt tribute to the founding fathers of Antonio Bay.
Could use that money down at the marina.
Okay, look. These guys are your forefathers. They built your town.
Without their sacrifice, there wouldn't be a marina or a pier. You're gonna make it to the unveiling tomorrow? Your family's name is on that statue.
Oh, I can't help that, can I?
What the hell is your problem? I mean, it's not like there's anything wrong with it.
It's all wrong.
Ooh. Later that night, however, strange, spooky things start to happen. I mean, dogs start barking, birds fly away, and Santa finds a watch. Finally, we're introduced to Stevie Wayne, and
4.5 KAB, your island
That's it.
alternative to the modern music establishment, playing the music I want to hear.
a scene which probably would have been better at the start when she actually had something to say. And after 6 months, Elizabeth is back. No longer played by Jamie Lee Curtis, but this time by Maggie Grace.
Oh shit.
Back to Stevie Wayne and... Okay, I gotta say this. The original Stevie Wayne attempted to sound seductively and asked her to fancy her without actually seeing her. Here...
Looks like the old barometer is on the rise. So it could be Dan the weatherman might just be right for a change.
Stevie is apparently half asleep. Now, the first 3 victims in the original were 3 elderly fishermen who you felt were respected and likeable. They were pillars of the community. And so, who are the first victims in this film? Unlikable pricks. So, back to Nick and Elizabeth and...
I just gotta pick up a part for the seagrass.
Wait, what? But you left the boatyard for the part in the middle of the day. In fact, you were in town earlier. How on earth have you not got the part yet? Santa from earlier, however, turns up and shows Elizabeth the watch he found.
If you touch it, things will change.
Oh, please. She's just a female lead and is now apparently a focal point of the town. I'm sure that her touching the watch will cause nothing to happen. What the hell was that?
It's still ticking.
Wasn't ticking before.
No explanation?
Where'd you get it?
Let me see. Came back.
Sooner or later, everything does.
Is that a saying now?
Looks familiar.
You're linking her to the past, aren't you? Why? Seriously, in the original, she was just passing through. She had no importance to the plot at all. Hell, in a way, there was no leading characters in the original. Granted, there was a main bunch, and Father Malone was, the most important one of them, but... Wait, speaking of which, where is Father Malone? So, that was pointless. We then meet Dan the Weatherman, who is telling Stevie about the fog bank moving against the wind.
Looks like a fog bank, about 10 miles out, and it's moving straight towards us.
Well, my gauges must be wrong then, because I'm showing a wind blowing due west. Now, what kind of fog moves against the wind?
At least in the original, Stevie sounded slightly concerned about this fog bank moving against the wind. Here, she just sounds like, "Oh, a fog bank is moving against the wind. That's cool."
Dan the weatherman says a fog bank is rolling in offshore, so if I were you, I would lock the doors, throw away the keys, and whip up a pitcher of martinis.
Hey, Spooner, you see any fog out there?
No fog out here. Ladies, you see any fog out here?
I don't see any fog out there.
Did they say any reports about beautiful women? Because that's definitely out here.
Oh, Spooner, I hate you so much.
Spooner, the engine's dead.
Nobody care about that. You know why? Because we got beer. And for two, we got beer.
It's not like he needs an engine to get back to land whenever he runs out of alcohol, or food, or any basic necessities. So the electrics are fried and it's starting to get really cold. This must mean some deaths are about to occur. No. Those are the effects you're using for the fog? There are animated shows that do better than this.
Oh, that's so much more pleasant.
But enough of that scene where something is actually happening. Let's go to Elizabeth and Nick.
I don't belong on this island, Nick.
That's why I came back.
You're such a liar.
Suddenly the windows explode, just like the original. I'm sorry, you're probably getting annoyed at me continuously comparing the original and the remake. But I can't help it when they take bits straight out of the original.
Are you okay?
I think so.
The hell was that?
No, car crash. Wait. No, that isn't.
Father Malone?
You bastards! What did you do to Father Malone? Oh my god, look at him! Father Malone was a dignified man who was truly remorseful at learning the things that the Founding Fathers did, but at least he kept his dignity. This one appears to be a confused and deranged individual who no one will listen to! Now that we're back at the boat, Spooner sees the Elizabeth Dane, the ship which sank at the beginning.
It's gone.
What?
It's gone.
What is?
There's a big sailor ship.
Jennifer draws the cruise logo on the window for no particular reason, before being thrown through that said window. So after some pointless filler of Elizabeth talking to her mother, and some making out in the shower between Elizabeth and Nick, Elizabeth has yet another vision of the boat.
Elizabeth?
Of course, this doesn't come off very well, as we can only see 2 cuts to it. And only after she woke up.
I've been having them a lot. That's why I came home.
What? Why? Where's the reasoning behind that? So, because Elizabeth can't go back to sleep, she decides to look up that symbol on the internet. And I'm guessing she typed Google into Google because this happened. But apparently there's also wet footprints on the ceiling. So after investigating this, she goes outside and hears someone whispering her name somewhere out in the foggy night. So, does she go back inside? No, of course not. She puts on the jacket and goes outside because that's the stupidest thing you can do. So you didn't even add a jump scare there? I mean, it would have been cheap, but at least it would have been an attempt to scare the viewer. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I forgot this was a horror film. So we then find Stevie's kid Andy finding a hairbrush on the beach.
Mom! Mom, wake up! Look what I found!
No kid is fascinated by a hairbrush. Especially one that was rotten in the ocean for 134 years. You know what? At least in the original the kid had a reason to be fascinated, since it was a gold coin which then transformed into a piece of wood. This one is just, a manky old hairbrush. Mine! And he shows the hairbrush to his mum, and of course she doesn't care.
Looks like it must have been somebody's hairbrush once upon a time.
So back to Elizabeth, and she gets out a book which, oh for God's sake, elaborate! Stop going to scenes and then cut into another scene before anything gets pointed out. It leaves the viewer confused. Oh, I see the point. We had to see Nick interact with Stevie. A scene which goes nowhere. Okay, so back to Elizabeth, where she finds information on the symbols which date back to the 1800s. Okay, in the original, things just happened. Nothing was explained and the characters were more eager to get out of danger rather than find out why they were in danger. This made the film more realistic and more entertaining. When people try to escape but find out anyway what's going on, okay, I can forgive that. But all this is just filler until the ghosts appear again. Heck, in the original, the reason why things were happening was revealed early on so that we could then focus on more important things. This one, like so many other horror films, is dragged on so long that when we finally get why things are happening, we no longer care. Nick turns up to report that Spooner and the seagrass are missing, and therefore goes down to the docks.
And no one's seen her.
Not that I've heard. I gotta call the Coast Guard, Nick.
Hold, don't do that just yet. They're probably just anchored up a channel somewhere.
Your friend and boat have disappeared without a word. Let the professionals do their jobs, you dick. So Nick and Elizabeth go out and eventually find the seagrass, but also find it strangely abandoned. They do, however, find Sean. Was that meant to be scary? I mean, I completely forgot that this was a horror film and I'm completely bored, but was that meant to be scary? The music sounded like it was. At least in the original they faked us out before having the body drop the hell out of nowhere to scare us. Elizabeth, meanwhile, not only finds the girls, but also Spooner alive? What the hell? So not only did he escape the ghosts, he spent all night in a freezer and is still alive? What makes him so goddamn special? So they get back to land, but Spooner is taken in on suspicion of murder.
Lock him up for what?
You sell the bodies. You think they got that way by accident?
Which is pretty understandable. I mean, he goes off on a boat with 3 other people and those 3 other people end up dead. But you know what? It's actually alright, because as we saw earlier, the video camera recorded the entire murder and therefore can prove his innocence.
Look, found this in the boat. Take it. Keep it safe.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My brain stopped working there for a second. It sounded like you took away the only piece of evidence that can prove your friend's innocent.
I found this in the boat. Take it. Keep it safe.
Why?
It's a piece of evidence.
It might prove that Spooner's innocent.
So you take the camera?
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
Can you tell me what your thought process is? I mean, it's basically the police would have found the camera, looked at it and said, he couldn't have done the murders, we better place him under protection. But no! Thanks to you taking the goddamn camera, they're going to look at the scene and say he could be the only one who could have done this. So they're going to arrest him, you bloody morons!
Keep it safe.
You know what? It's okay. It's actually okay. I mean, you may have a perversion of justice, tampering with a crime scene, tampering with evidence crimes against you, but you know what? It's actually quite alright, because you can still turn the camera in, as long as you don't do something stupid. Morons! Meanwhile, Stevie finds that the hairbrush has now become a music box and is also flammable. Stevie, the wall is on fire. The wall is on fire. The wall is on... There you go. So after the fire is put out, finally, it's revealed that it burned the symbol into several pieces of paper. You know, the symbol which basically means nothing. We bloody know there's a ghost ship around! We don't need reminding every 5 minutes! My God, what a mess that scene was! I mean, there's too many cuts, half the time the camera is swinging around so we can't tell what's going on, even if it didn't cut away. The Dane virus makes no sense, and when it finally starts to settle down, we get this laughable bit of suspense. The discovery of the piece of wood earlier led up to one of my favourite scenes from the original. A scene which is actually suspenseful, which is actually scary, and which gives us this terrifying message.
Oh my God. Damn them all.
The remade scene makes no sense and doesn't drive the plot along at all, which I suppose is like every other scene in this piece of crap. So after that stupid fall and destroying the camera which can only prove your friend's innocence, Elizabeth finds a journal in the wall and goes to see Father Malone, and it's revealed that it's his ancestor's journal. He doesn't want to talk about it though, you know, unlike the original, and Elizabeth starts having more visions. Oh, piss off, we get it already! At the hospital, Nick is unable to talk to Elizabeth, so she goes and looks at dead bodies. Well, that's what I do when I'm at the hospital with nothing to do. Oh, you're kidding. Right, you're being very subtle about this. Are you kidding me? Really? Oh, you've got to... You took yet another scene from the original and made it a laughing stock.
Drink this. It'll help you relax.
You don't believe me, do you?
Elizabeth, 3 people were just found dead on my boat. My family business is pretty much shot, and I got Malone trying to nail Spooner for murder.
Wait, what? Malone is trying... No, what? No, he isn't!
Malone family name is on that statue right next to mine, Tom.
No. You're kidding me, right? I didn't even realise until this point that there was another Malone. It would be easier to establish these things much clearer so that we, the audience, can get angry earlier rather than later. But this scene isn't completely pointless because, firstly, Elizabeth reveals that the camera proving Spooner's innocence is lost thanks to their sheer stupidity, and it's revealed that in the space of 2 years, a town appeared.
In 1871. What turned it all around?
Oh, I don't know. Why not have this?
Are we resolved to protect this island?
Aye.
Oh, never mind, let's cut to Spooner's hospital room, where it's shown that he did a run-up. And then we have this scene. Oh, and by the way, that table is either teleporting, or it took so long to cut to that scene, the tide came in. Oh, never mind, it's gone again. Okay, if he was stupid enough to follow a piece of rope into the sea, he deserves to die! Andy sees this and runs home, where his well-timed aunt locks the door behind him. So the fog proceeds to cover the entire town, including Dan the weatherman's place, where the Dane virus knocks out everything.
All the lights just went out. Everything's dead.
Everything but your computer, right?
Batteries.
Wait a minute. We saw earlier that the Dane virus affected Stevie's laptop with no problem, and now it leaves Dan's alone? Oh, I forgot, most people talk over Skype nowadays rather than the phone. Otherwise, Stevie couldn't see this. Because why not? Stevie tries to call home, but Mrs. Aunt Connie, firstly has to ask Andy to answer the phone, then it's revealed the phone is right next to her. By the time she does manage to pick up the phone, the Dane virus attacks the power station, which turns the power out to the whole town. Although I must say that this street is pretty well lit for a town that should now be in complete and utter darkness.
I think it's best that everybody just go home.
Stevie gets onto the radio that her son is in trouble on the off chance that someone is listening at that exact moment, which by the power of plot convenience, Nick is. So they drive over to her place while Stevie, oh I see the power outage hasn't affected the lighthouse. You know, at least the original shows us that Stevie turned on the emergency power, but if she did do that here, her emergency power also lights the path. Oh, and the obvious street lamp next to her car. Elizabeth begins reading Patrick Malone's journal again, saying a man called Blake wishes to buy half the island for himself and his people, and as this flashback shows, they suffer from leprosy. And Blake fancies, oh don't bother blowing her reflection, we know it's Elizabeth. Back at the house, Aunt Connie bites the dust. You're gonna kill her off. I mean, that's the way you dispose of Andy's sitter. I mean, the original had a perfect way for dealing with her. Our focus is on Andy, and then suddenly she gets taken out. And you replace that with a jump scare and a ridiculous effect? Meanwhile, Stevie's car breaks down, and the fog surrounds her as it begins to seep through the air conditioning. Why did the car flip sideways? The force of the truck hit it straight on. It should cause the car to go backwards, not sideways. It's basic physics! Stevie ends up falling down a cliff, even though if you look carefully in the shot of her breaking down, there is plenty of trees in the way, but she ends up in the water. While trying to escape, a ghost appeared. Oh god, a stupid CGI effect! But through the power of plot convenience, the other door is ajar. Andy, meanwhile, finds that the guy from Poltergeist is on the kitchen floor. He runs back to his room, but upon getting there, he sees the gap between the door and the floorboard and gets out some tape. The poor fool. Doesn't he know that it's the frequency red that ghosts don't like? Oh, good job, Andy. That'll keep the fog out. Luckily, Nick manages to get there before the crappy CGI effect could get him.
Truck. Come on, get in the truck.
We then catch up with Spooner and Father Malone.
You been drinking?
What gave it away? The fact that he was drinking from a flask?
Come on. Come on!
Back with Nick, Elizabeth and Andy, Nick drives right into a boat which was left in the middle of the road for some reason. This causes Elizabeth to have yet another vision of the Elizabeth Dane. Because, you know, it's not like we already fucking know!
Where's the rest?
Wait, wasn't she in the car? Yeah, she was! How did she get out all the way over there? Did Nick push her out? No, as it turns out, Elizabeth accidentally used her teleportation powers, and Nick and Andy are still in the car. But Stevie then turns up for an attempt at another jump scare. They get to the town hall where Elizabeth has yet another flashback. This flashback shows the founding fathers looting the ship, and shows us clearly that Blake's wife is in fact Elizabeth. The founding fathers then burn the boat down. I bet you didn't know that. I mean, it was only shown to us for about 500 billion times. Now that everyone has made it to the town hall, Father Malone confirms to Elizabeth what she fears.
So now you know.
That our forefathers murdered every man, woman, and child on the Elizabeth Dane. And this town was built on nothing but lies.
And now they've come for their revenge.
You had to do it, didn't you? You just had to do it, didn't you? You know, Father Malone was pretty much my favourite character in the original film. Why? Well, Father Malone was a truly remarkable character. It was him who found the journal, not Elizabeth, and he showed true guilt after learning that the founding fathers, who he and everyone in the town admired, were murderers who built their town with the gold stolen from the people on the Elizabeth Dane.
Our celebration tonight is a travesty. We're honoring murderers.
It was this guilt that drove him to drink, and it was this remorse that made him, whenever he could, try to surrender himself to Blake and his ghost cohorts, as well as return what remained of his gold. This remade Father Malone?
I'm sorry, Elizabeth, I really can't help you. With the children of murderers.
Although now he's shown some form of remorse, that makes a change with less than 15 minutes runtime left.
But we haven't done anything.
Yeah, keep my father out of this. We from Chicago.
Do you hear yourself talk? I might kill you tonight.
The fog, however, manages to break in after throwing Billy through the window. What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Get away from the window. Have you never seen a horror film? Well, I suppose this film is trying to be a horror film, but... oh, never mind. Now that the fog is in, the crappy CGI ghost of Blake goes after Father Malone. That's actually a fitting end to the way that they portrayed that character. So the other Malone tries to get away, but Blake catches him. He seems to spare Nick, Elizabeth, Stevie and Andy for insert reason here. I guess main character powers shielded them. So the elder Malone finds himself surrounded by Blake and his ghost cohorts, who proceed to set him on fire. Why is he getting the worst treatment? I mean, the only bad thing he's done in this entire film is trying to convict Spooner of murder. And anybody else would have given the circumstances. Elizabeth and Nick proceed to escape. I said escape. What are you doing? Wait, no, you're not. Oh, you are fucking kidding me. That's all Blake wanted? To be reunited with the reincarnation of his dead wife? What was it? Was killing a bonus? All he wanted was his sweetheart back? Was she reincarnated? What does this mean? What the hell just happened? We then cut back to Stevie for her final thoughts.
Has been anything more than just a nightmare? Did it come back for revenge? Or justice? Or maybe to claim something lost long, long ago? Maybe we'll never know. But one thing's for sure. Something did come back. From the sea. Sooner or later, everything does.
So that was the remake of The Fog. Can you see why I didn't like it? Where do I start? I mean, the original got everything right, and the remake got everything wrong. The acting is poor, the effects are crap, the story is bad, everything in this film is complete and utter crap. John Carpenter has always stated that he wanted to redo The Fog. And this is what he wanted to do with it? He helped produce it. He helped made it into what it is now. Well done, John. Well done. You helped make a mockery of the very genre you helped create. Everyone seems to have forgotten why the film is called The Fog. In the original, the founders used the fog to capsize the ship. And now Blake is using that very same fog to cause terror on the town. The fog had no relevance in this film. It could have been done in broad daylight and it wouldn't make any difference. This film is an insult, not just to fans of the original, not to fans of the horror genre, but to fans of the cinematic experience in general. Basically, this film is an abomination of cinematic history. To anyone who worked on this film, I leave you with this message.
Your performance was miserable. Your parents will all receive phone calls instructing them to love you less now.
And that was my review of 2005 The Fog. See you next time, guys.